guys, this is Chess Productions, bringing you a really awesome game today. This is called the Immortal game. It's the first of its kind, and it's called an immortal game, I'm guessing, because although the chess players themselves aren't immortal, their games will live on in the chess world, and I find that to be pretty awesome. So, this is a game played by Anderssen and Kieseritzky. Anderssen is playing the white pieces, and Kieseritzky the black pieces. I'm not entirely sure what year this match was played, but one reason I like it is because it has the King's Gambit, and big fan of the King's Gambit. So let's jump right into it here. Anderson plays e4, and then we see e5, and now we see the pawn coming to f4. And this is a King's Gambit accepted line, so Kazersky takes on e4. And so here, a normal, like just normal development would be something like knight to f3, but here we see the more aggressive line, which is bishop to c4. And the main reason why knight to f3 is played, sorry, excuse me, is to stop this queen coming down to h4. And this isn't something it's not normally seen modern days because it does later on a good chess player of the King's Gambit can actually trap the queen, and we'll see that later on. But this is what Kazersky plays. Queen to h4 check, and now the king is forced to come to f1. Um, and now there's a few possibilities from black here, but one that we see is the Brian counter gambit, which is b5. It's not. It's an okay counter gambit, I guess. I don't really see it that much. It is kind of a weak gambit now. Um, so we see Anderson take on b5, and then we have knight to f6 attacking this unprotected pawn. But keep in mind though, with the bishop on b5 now, this pawn is kind of tied down to the protection of this king, so this bishop isn't actually coming out anytime soon, and it's going to be a little bit hard for that. But we'll move on now. So we have knight to f6, and then we have knight to f3 here. And this is quite a good move, I guess. It's chasing away this queen, which would have been played earlier on. But now we see it chasing away the queen, and the queen must retreat back now to h6, still protecting this pawn here. But keep in mind, this pawn is still being attacked by this knight. So we see Anderson playing f3. It gains a tempo by getting rid of this queen, because if the knight takes, then the queen falls. And let's face it, no chess player, let alone Kazersky, wants that. So and now this pawn is protected by d3. You might see a normal developing move like knight to c3, but we have d3 here, and this is played. Well, I'm guessing this is played because this bishop here now on the c-file is just eyeing up this pawn here, and although it's protected by the queen, later on if this gets another attacker, this could be a real problem for black to hold on to this pawn. Right now it is only its center pawn. It's the only one there. It's the only one pawn that's giving it any sort of center control. Then again, it's not even in the center. So right now we see that black here has hardly any center at all, and so this is why Anderson played the King's Gambit. I'm guessing it is a very aggressive opening, very aggressive gambit. So now we see d3 and then knight to h5. This is actually a very sly move, let's just say, by Kazersky, because let's just say if white is unawares for any reason, and say normal developing move like c3, if the knight comes down now to g3 check, forking both the king and the rook, if the pawn takes, then the queen just snags up this rook here on h1 check again. So that's a very sly move by Kieseritzky there, but Anderson doesn't fall for that, and instead he plays, instead he plays knight to h4, which is also blocking that. So if the knight still comes down, then takes, well, the queen can't come down to now can it, because it's blocked by the knight. So we see knight to h4 there by Anderssen, and then we have queen to g5. Um, just I think another sort of attacking this G file here. Um, so now we have knight to f5. Not only that, but it's of course it's attacking this unprotected knight, but it's also attacking this unprotected bishop here on the b file. So now this is why we see knight to f5 by Anderssen. So it's blocking that attack on there on the bishop, and it's also protecting the knight by the pawn on the e file. Um, so we have knight to f5, and then here we see c6. Um, of course, just wants to kick away that bishop. Probably a better move would just be to kick away that knight, because this knight is just it has a great outpost here on the f5 square. Look at these attacks here, that it could just leap into it at any time, at any given time, and just check the king repeatedly. But that's not what we see. We see c6. That bishop has become a little bit annoying. But Anderssen, he's a really aggressive player. Um, well, you have to be aggressive in the King's Gambit. And so here we see g4. And it's a great move. So if pawn takes, we see pawn takes here. And then not only that, but we've got this pawn just coming up here ready to just smash open the king side of black. So I guess black doesn't want to lose that knight right away, so that's why we see knight to f6. But because Anderssen just doesn't stop there, he's just set on sacrificing this bishop here, and we see rook to g1. Not only that, but it's also stopping the queen. Just say if uh, moves back here to c4. We see the queen coming in here, takes on, and then if queen takes, knight takes, and then we got like this great knight here on the on g4. So that is why rook to g1 is played by Anderssen, and then we have c takes b, c takes on the bishop. So there we go. Just Anderssen has just given up his bishop there. He's down a whole lot of material, but as we can see here, he has great center control. Not only that, but if you look at it, um, like black hasn't really, he's not really in a good developing position, I guess you could say. He doesn't have a lot of options. Um, like this queen is kind of trapped in here. What is it doing? It's like it's tied down to the protection of this pawn. It's not doing anything. And really, when you see it, White's just got this great center control, and his pieces can just leap into the action at any time, and we'll see that actually later on. Um, so now we have h4 by White, chasing away that queen. And look at the queen now; it's pretty much trapped. The only spot that it can, the only square that it can go to is g6, and then Anderssen keeps pushing up. h5 is played, and then queen is back to g5. So this queen is absolutely it's trapped. There is it's a fat chance it's going to be escaping from here. But now I guess Anderssen wanted getting his other pieces more involved. We see queen to f3, and that's probably supporting any attacks on the queen later on. Not only that, but it's also now this bishop can at any given time can just come here, snag up the pawn. The queen can't take back because then queen takes, and that'll just be devastating for black. Black doesn't want it, black doesn't want that. Excuse me. Um, so queen to f3, and then we have knight to g8.